All right. Shalom, shalom. It's the brother Mawasar. All right. Lord willing, the other brothers can join me. Like I said, Lord willing. But today we going into the power of the tongue. Right. The power of the tongue. The power of what you say. Right here. Let the brother introduce himself. Shalom. Man.
Shalom, it's the brother Shimo. Oh man, I'll praise to the Most High.
Okay, Khan. So, like the title we're going into the power of the tongue. So, one thing about the Bible, if you don't know, is that it speaks a lot about what you say, about what you should say, what you shouldn't say. It's a time to say certain stuff. It's the time not to say certain stuff. It's a time to it's even certain thoughts you don't necessarily want to be having. That's how important words are. When we say the power of the tongue, we're not talking about your literal tongue that's in your mouth. It represents your speech, what you say, your communication. It's power in that, right? I'm gonna kick it off like this, right? Let's go to one of the classics. Let's go to John chapter 1. Right? Let's go John chapter 1 and verse 1. It says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." So they like to go to this and they like to say, "Oh, Christ is Jesus, Christ and God the same thing, whatever." We're not here for that. Let's just take their logic. It said the Word was with God, and the Word was God. It said the Word was. You feel what I'm saying? Now we know that's a representation of Christ, but we talking about the power of the tongue right now. When the word is literally Christ. He represents word. That's how powerful that is. The most powerful man to ever walk the planet is represented by the title, the word. You know, he talk about in the Bible talking about getting clean with the word, all these type of things. So the power of the tongue is real. So let's jump into this, right? I want to get this precept in Proverbs chapter 18. Let me get this right quick. And then you can jump in there right quick. It's Proverbs chapter 18. What am I looking for? 31. So like your new sword, page sticking. Proverbs chapter 18. Okay, I got it. Time, verse number 21. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. So, I mean, that's really just plain. I mean, of course, I'm going to break it down, but what does it say? It's a life and death is in the power of what you say or what you don't say. And let's think about that in a more practical nowadays. And let's say you see somebody about to get hit by a car crossing the street. You can yell and let them know, hey, it's a truck coming. But if you don't say nothing and they just keep walking and they get hit by the truck, hey, that death was on you because you didn't use your tongue. You didn't use the power of your tongue to save that life. Just like when Christ said this in Matthew chapter 12 and verse number 34. It's Matthew 12 and 34. O generation of vipers, how can ye, being evil, speak good things? For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. So not only is the tongue powerful, but it speaks the things that are deep down inside of you. That's where the power comes from. When you get when Esau was talking about, saying the days of mourning my father is upon me, but after that, it's up with Jacob. He meant that. He wasn't joking. He wasn't he cracking, sniggling. It wasn't nothing that he was serious. And look how he moves today. So that just shows you the power of the tongue. It says that death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. So you're gonna eat the fruit of life from what you say or don't say, or you're gonna eat the fruit of death from what you say or you don't say. Look at all these drill rappers that's dying behind everything they saying. They talking about they with it and they living this life and they not lying. And we see it. But you gotta
God, yeah, the brother bringing it out, man. Your speech can get you in trouble. You know, as Eve like to say, Jake say it too. They say they get in trouble. They mouth get them in trouble. You know, if you know that, I mean, you should control your speech, especially have brothers out there that's teaching on the highways and byways. You know, you got to be careful how you talk to the flock because you may be in certain situations you don't need to be in. A lot of things can be avoided by how you talk to somebody, which is discernment, you know, and being merciful as well, more humility towards the flock, right? So let's go to Psalm 64, verse 8. It reads, "So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves," right? So you can make your own tongue to fall upon you, right? Literally, you can damn get caught up. Speaking of that, right? That's a spirit because I sent the video through the chat. There's a video of I forgot his name, man. But he literally said that you know, they going, man, I don't want to butcher it. But basically the US, right? They're I bel I don't want to butcher it, but they seeking missiles to Iran or Ukraine or one of the two. And he said that out of his mouth. He didn't mean to say that, right? He didn't mean to say that, but he's running his mouth so much. It says, "So that shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves." So he fell upon himself when literally Trump said he wasn't going to do anything, and you know, and peace treaties and this and that, but then come out of his mouth, you know, boasting they're gonna do this and that. Then you have one of his you know, his nobles, you know, end up speaking about the things they're gonna do. You know, your own tongue can literally get yourself killed. You know, you could scatter the sheep, you could offend the flock just by a certain word you say or the delivery how you say it. In Israel, we need to Salakia, we need to learn how to talk to each other because sometimes we be so passionate about things or whatever that may be, especially this Bible, and it can run somebody off, right? So let's get another. I had another precept, right? Let's go to. I believe that's Proverbs 25 through the Spirit, right? Proverbs 25 verse 11, right? It says, "A word fitly spoken is like apples of gold." So a word fitly spoken is like apples of gold and pictures of silver. You know, hey, it's very beautiful and sweet when a word is spoken in due season, when it's the right time to say what you need to say, you know, not just damn, you know, Israel just say things at the wrong time, right? You know, and it can happen, right? It can happen. So like, yeah, put my, I don't know if they can, y'all can hear that or not, but you know, the tongue is very powerful, man. The Lord said you can't tame it. It's evil. The only way you could tame it is through Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Through the Spirit, the Lord is who be able to control your mouth and your mind, right? But you gotta
You hear me?
gone.
Okay, kind. It's moving a little bit slow on my end, but we're gonna keep it going, right? So, like the brother was just going into, it's sometimes you can say stuff at the wrong time, and I want to get into that because a lot of the times, like we speaking to people who in the truth. We speaking if you on this video, more than likely 99 times out of 100, you know some part of the truth. You understand you Israelite, all that. But with that knowledge, like the brother was also saying, you know, in my putting in my own words, that can kind of mess with your mind and you things be out of balance. You know, some people turn into super over righteous Hebrew Israelites where they just super bruise and they don't smile, they don't laugh, they just shalom and super straight faced. And then you got other people, you know what I'm saying, they real relaxed, they don't take it. It's a lot going on. But the thing is that what you say, regardless of what you, all of that other stuff, what you say still holds the same amount of weight. Wait, let me read this right quick before I go to Sirach. Let me go to Matthew 12 and verse number 34. Let's get into that, what I was into earlier. O generation of vipers, how can ye, being evil, speak good things? For out of the abundance of the heart the mouth speaketh. A good man out of the good treasure of the heart bringeth forth good things, and an evil man out of the evil treasure bringeth forth evil things. Right? The treasure obviously is you, is your heart. He said a good man is going to bring forth good things, right? A bad man is going to bring forth bad things. Saying to just insert woman, insert child, insert elder, priest, camp leader, whatever you want to put in there. Good produces good, but bad produces bad. That's how that works. Now let's go into what I wanted to get into in Sirach chapter 20. Because a lot of times you can think you're saying something good, but by you saying it at the wrong time, what you're saying doesn't matter. And there's precepts in the Bible about that. Let's go to Sirach chapter 20 and verse, I believe it's number 8. It's verse number 7. A wise man will hold his tongue till he see opportunity, but a babbler and a fool will regard no time. Right? You might have somebody who they might be a wise brother, wise sister, wise child, whatever, wise elder, but it's always at the wrong time. You know, it's kind of like that brother in the world. He had a good joke, but he always cracked jokes at the wrong time. It's a completely serious moment, whatever is going on, serious situation, and here he is cracking a joke. Or you got the opposite with some people. Everybody else turning up, happy, smiling, laughing, and you got that one who just the complete opposite, right? But it say a babbler and a fool will regard no time. You don't have the discipline or the patience just to wait until it's time to say something. Because if you think about it in the Bible, with the truth coming out the way it is, the Most High waited a long time to start speaking to us through this Bible. Because the Bible was already always there. Everybody I know that's in the truth at some point in their life, 9 times out of 10, you done owned the Bible at some time, but you done had it nowhere near the understanding nor anything that you got of the Bible that you got now. Until the Most High started to speak to you. You feel what I'm saying? Until that word started to come out. So when it comes to saying stuff at the wrong time, we got more verses on that in the same chapter. This is Sirach chapter 20 and verse number 19. And unseasonable tale will always be in the mouth of the unwise. A wise sentence shall be rejected when it cometh out of a fool's mouth, for he will not speak it in due season. It's a wise sentence. You could be saying something so cold, man. You know what I'm saying? That one time, man, when you held it down for me, you know what I'm saying? I borrowed that $300 to you. You gave it back to me. I appreciate you. That, like, man, I know you don't be having money like that, but imagine the brother say like that. Y'all in front of some females or something. Y'all in front of some people y'all don't know. Brother talking about, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying, with everything he did for you. And it might be out of sincerity. You know how brothers get when they drunk, especially. Brothers get to pouring out their heart. I love you, I do this, and that to anybody who mess with you. And it might be something that it might be okay. It might be love for real, but you know, they saying it at the wrong time. It's not the time to be saying that. You know, it's not the time. You think it's the time to rebuke a brother for doing something wrong when he got his wife and kids there at the feast day and we finna eat the Passover and you just not shake the hand on the brother. Slap him upside his head in front of his wife and his kid. Like, we gotta really think about these things. When it's talking about an unseasonable tale, if you say something at the wrong time, I know for a fact you'll do something at the wrong time. So you gotta watch your actions just as much as your tongue. I'm yet to run into people who would not do things that they say out of their mouth. Whether they do it or not, neither here nor there. But would they do it or not? I haven't seen a lot of people say that they would do things that they would not do. If they could, just think about how many people, oh man, I do this, and that with $1 million. If they had it, they would, but they ain't got it, so they not. You feel what I'm saying? Everybody got their certain stuff that they'll do if they could, but hey, it is what it is. So let me get one more precept and I'm gonna pass it back to you, because we gotta really drive this point home that what you say out of your mouth, what you don't say, what you hear, all of that stuff is important. All right, brother, can still hear me?
Come.
If you can't say, okay, come. All right, it's Proverbs chapter 15 and verse, what I want. Proverbs chapter 15 and verse number 4. It says, a wholesome tongue is a tree of life, but perverseness therein is a breach in the spirit. So it said a wholesome tongue is a tree of life. Like, think about how wholesome the tongue of the Most High is and how much life that's given us. We on this video right now, we could be doing anything on Wednesday, man. We could be, it's a million things we could be doing right now. But because of that life that we got from the tree, which is the Most High, which is this wisdom, hey, this is what we doing. You got a bunch of what the world sees as black men, Hispanic men, Native American men going outside every Friday and Saturday, you know, spending a weekend as the world sees it, telling people, hey, it's a better way for us to do this. Hey, black man, hey, black woman, hey, Native American man, Native American woman, y'all get the point. It's a better way to do this. Nah, brother, we ain't here to try to take nothing from you. We don't want your money. We just want you to hear what we got to say. That's what we say every time at camp. We don't want your money. We don't want you to fall down and worship us. We don't want you to post us on your Instagram and be like, these they the realest in the city. We don't want none of that. We just want you to listen to what we got to say because the word is that powerful. So like y'all, I got one last verse and then I got you. Right. Because there's a verse on how powerful the word is. Lord willing, I'm not taking them brother precept, but we got to go to Hebrews. All right, it's Hebrews chapter 4. So like I said, brand new Bible, brand new pages. They be sticking, man. Well, let's go to Hebrews chapter 4, man. We got to bring this up. All right, Hebrews chapter 4. And I believe that's verse 12, if I'm not mistaken. Hebrews chapter 4 and verse 12. For the word of God is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit and of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. So you got to think back then, they ain't have 4.5s, they ain't have switches, you know what I'm saying? They didn't have, I don't know what Jake got, Dracos, and they didn't have all that. They had swords. But back then, just think about a two-edged sword. You know what I'm saying? That's a weapon of war. It said the word of God is sharper than that. The word of God is better than any gun you got. The word of God is better than any sword, any knife, machete, any weapon you got. The word of God is more powerful than that. Like, just think, if you watch some of our videos, you know, you got people who act out in all types of ways just by us reading words off of a page. But they just not regular words. It's the word of the Most High, and that's why people act like that. There are people who kiss the boot off of the words of the Most High. They don't know us from a can of paint. But we read the word of the Most High, and it's that powerful that they do that. We read the word of the Most High, and it's that powerful that Mawasar and Shemawa then turned from our wicked worldly ways, and still turning every day, of course. And now we on this video trying to teach the people to do the same thing. We both young men, and this is what we doing with our life. All off of the power of the word. But you got it.
Khan, all praise to the Most High. All right, that's right. You know, I mean, hey, this tongue powerful, man. It get deep. Most High willing, we could bring out accounts too of what the tongue can do to you. You know, how our forefathers got in trouble by the tongue, or a heathen got in trouble by his tongue. I mean, you see Esau get in trouble by his tongue. He revealed a secret, right? He's boasting, he's proudful, and the Lord destroy him as he's doing right now. So we go to Proverbs chapter 21, verse 23. It says, whoso keepeth his mouth and his tongue, keepeth his soul from troubles. So the Lord is steady telling you to have control of your mouth, and have a time when to say something, Like I said, we all Israel need to know it, and you can't even be like, especially women, because it's really both. Jake do it too, man. Jake do it too, right? So it says, whoso keepeth his mouth and his tongue, keepeth his soul from troubles. You can be in trouble teaching his word, if you're not going. Let me get Isaiah. All right. This Isaiah chapter 8, verse 20, Salaki. It says to the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, right? If you're not speaking according to this Bible, best believe you're speaking babblings, right? When you speaking babblings and gibber, I mean, the Lord called you a fool, what the brother brought out in Sirach 20:7, right? So if a person not speaking according to this word, which is the Bible, if the understanding is not coming off, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, I mean, you a fool. A dumb man can be quiet and he's considered wise. See that? Let's get that through the spirit. If I can find that precept. See that? This Proverbs chapter 17, verse 28. It says, even a fool, when he holdeth his peace, because you got Israel, they don't know how to hold their peace. They in strife, contention, especially in their marriages. You always got to have the last word, especially when, on the highways and byways, you talking to the flock, he say something, you always try to cut him. You don't always have to, oh, I'm gonna cut you, and this, it ain't got to be like that. You could just say something very gentle to him, and the words of the Lord will cut him. Don't use your own will to try to cut somebody, because if a person really want to change, they'll get cut, by the will of the Lord. The Lord who's do the cutting, not man. Yes, you may have a time where you might have to, ask a question, and it may slice his brain cells or his spirit, but you don't have to do that according to your will. It says, even a fool, when he holdeth his peace, right? So we gotta learn how to hold our peace. We gotta learn how to have peace, most importantly. But we gotta know how everything don't need to be said. Sometimes you need to let your will say, she got it, man. She got it. You don't always gotta go tit for tat with somebody. You don't always gotta have the right answer, because who's right all the time is the Lord, right? Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is right all the time. Man is not right all the time. Man lie. Man is wrong. Man error, but the Lord doesn't, right? So I'm gonna read that again. Even a fool, when he holdeth his peace, is counted wise. So even a fool is counted wise when he shut up. You may not know who a man is until he speak. Next thing you know, he's speaking crazy. But when he's quiet, he minding his business, he's considered wise, because he's not saying anything. He's not in the midst of, madness, right? So this, me in the book of Proverbs, but we're gonna switch it up. Let's go to a classic James. All right, let's go to the classic James through the spirit. All right, so we got to watch what we say. All right, let's go to Colossians. Colossians chapter 4, verse 6. We really got to watch what we say. And this is, it could be hard for some people, to watch what we say. It can be hard for somebody, that tail-bearing spirit, right? So this Colossians chapter 4, verse 6, it says, let your speech be always with grace. So our speech need to be always with grace, right? Does that mean you soft-spoken, you always gotta, it's just, maybe no, it's not like that. Just watch certain words you say. Certain words can trigger a brother. Israel go through a lot of trauma dealing with these curses, man. Brothers be having flashbacks, and women definitely be having flashbacks. Hey, we go through a lot, man, women and child. So how your speech is seasoned, right? Let your speech be always with grace, seasoned with salt. Yeah, you gotta watch your tone. It don't always gotta be, just soft, man. I don't know where to. It ain't gotta be soft. You talking like Michael Jackson. They don't always gotta be like that. You talking like Michael Jackson, not the Grammys. Not to talk about MJ, but yeah, man, it don't always got to be like that, because Israel, we be triggered with words, a certain word, a brother may say, check it out, as we say in Chicago, check it out. A brother can be triggered by that, out here. But if it's in a different tone, then it's hey Joe, check it out. Hey, that look like, oh, okay, he has a spirit of he got to really tell me something. It's something I need to know. This is something very important. It's hey, check it out. Now that brother think like, hey, because last person that told him that he got robbed. He was barefoot outside, right? So read on, it says, let your speech be always with grace, seasoned with salt, that ye may know how ye ought to answer every man. We need to learn how to answer every man and woman, right? We need to learn how to answer a child, you know. Sometimes when you deal brothers who deal with who have kids, I don't personally have some, but I dealt with some, and kids, they very tender as well. And certain words can trigger them as they get older. Like I say, certain words trauma, certain words trigger, you know, and certain, kids, you say something to a kid and that can damage his spirit, man. You just offended the little ones, right? So let's get First Peter. This First Peter chapter 3 and verse 6, right? It says, even Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, whose daughter ye are, as long as ye dwell and are not afraid with any amazement, right? That's the point. Verse 7, likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, right? According to knowledge. You dwell with them according to knowledge because, right, like the brother said, meek, humble, meek, and firm, right? That's a beautiful combination, humbleness and firm. That's a word fitly spoken, right? But read on, it says, likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge. How do you dwell with your rib or anybody according to knowledge? Is literally watch what you say, watch your tone, use certain words that doesn't trigger them, especially if you know them, right? Or getting to know them and you found out that word triggers them, use a certain word or use a different tone, you know. Sometimes people say, hey boy, you can't talk to everybody like that. But it'd be a time where you may be playing basketball, playing a game, and you'd be like, boy, you going crazy, boy. See, it's a different type of spirit with that. But somebody saying, hey boy, that's off, you know, especially if a brother may be going off, and you got to discern the spirit of how he, what type of brother he is. Because if he going off and you be like, boy, what is you doing? That may be like, hey man, what you mean? You got to discern the spirit, man, because people get triggered by anything. And this word is sensitive. Everybody's sensitive, man. People get sensitive off post, comments, right? Memes. People are sensitive. So you got to watch what you say, right? And how to deal with your real according to knowledge, knowing she the weaker vessel and spirits can hop on her very easily, which all of us it can. But due to the weaker vessel, you got to watch what you say, and sometimes let her have it. Just look, you got it. All right. All praise to the Most High. Man, I don't even need to say nothing. And then, time go past, it do it, don't. But if it happens, all praise to the Most High. Hey, I'm, Salakia, I could have, boom, boom. Hey, all praise to the Most High. But most importantly, you, because the Lord is watching you, watch what you say, hold your peace, right? But you got to,
That walked me perfectly. You can hear me, right? I'm in a whole new location with it, right? But that brings you into Ecclesiastes chapter 3, right? Like the brother said, you ain't even gotta always say nothing, right? A lot of your power comes, the power of your tongue, a lot of times come from what you don't do with it. Like, how powerful would it be? Let's say, in a world, let's say, like when you run into people who don't use cuss words, that's powerful to you. They stand out because they doing something that most people don't do. It's something about how they speak that's different. Let's say you a Jake or you a Eve, Jake, whatever. You a so-called black person. I'm gonna talk about what I'm used to seeing, what I grew up seeing, in my community, where it's a certain way that people is used to talking to each other in relationships. To where you got a lot of dudes, they be like, well, I just go get a white girl then. I just go get, that they think about going to other races because they don't like the way that they spoken to wherever they at, male or female. Because we see both. Trust me, when we at camp, When we see swirling, it's both sides, bro. Both equally, right? But a lot of times I hear it's about that tongue and what's said and all of that type of stuff. Because a lot of the dudes, especially, they say, well, she don't say this about me. She don't say that about. I remember we was in Chicago one time holding camp, and the brother was talking about how, because he was with a Caucasian woman when he walked past, and he was like, well, it's certain things that he experienced with his own people, which is us, the way that our his own people talk to him, the way his own people talked about him, because he's a brother. He wasn't the stereotypical black dude. You know what I'm saying? He kind of the artsy brother, wear the big clothes. You know what I'm saying? He into like the skateboard. He one of them type of brothers, which is not seen as cool. Will be the power of the tongue of his own people was so powerful that he went to some other people where he felt more comfortable. That shows the power of your tongue. So let's get into Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse number. Let's start at verse 1. Right, Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 1. To everything there is a season. I'm gonna read that again. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. So it says to everything there is a season. I can't think of one season that lasts all year, that lasts forever. 10 years of summer, 20 years of winter. I've never seen it happen. Never heard of it happening. Seasons change like that. Hey, look at it right now. Last week, we were still dipping down into the 50s up here in Milwaukee. It's cold. It'll be 50. Then, I mean, this Midwest weather. 8 in the morning, it's 55 degrees. By 9:30, it's damn near 90. Then by 4 o'clock, it's 65. Y'all know what I'm talking about if y'all from the Midwest, man. So it's just like it's everything there's a season. Everything has a time to come and a time to go. Right? But I want to get into what we're talking about right now. Let's drop down to verse number 7. It's Ecclesiastes 3 and 7. A time to rend and a time to sow. A time to keep silence and a time to speak. There's a time for everything. There's a time when you shouldn't say nothing. We're not going to speak too much on it, but it was a situation that happened not too long ago where the people got involved and they asking questions. Oh, well, why did this happen? And well, why did y'all end up doing this? And how did that happen? And hey, brothers had to kind of be wise with our tongue, man. We had to know what to say and what not to say. When you got your enemy in front of you, you got to be what? Well, let's get that. You know that precept. It say be wise as a serpent, but harmless as a dove. Is that Matthew 7?
Matthew 10 and 16.
Matthew 10. The water. Let's get that. Part of the power of the tongue is being wise with it, knowing when to say stuff, when not to, all of that. Let's go to Matthew chapter 10, verse 16. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. Right? And a brother said that's how it is in Cincinnati. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Ohio right across the street, man. Around them lakes. I don't know what it is, but that weather, bro. Especially that Chicago weather down there where that brother at, man. That brother Shema Wall, let me tell you, man. That Midwest weather ain't no joke. So just like how them seasons change up, that's how the times change up. Hey, in the middle of a conversation, it might be time for you to shut up. That's what it's saying. In the middle of a conversation, it might be time for you to speak up. You might have been quiet, just listening. I'm gonna give an example. Let's say a brother venting to you, and he talking about, I'm going through this, and that, and you've been a good listener. Then the brother kind of slide in something about kind of taking this, kind of deleting this stuff, taking this up. No. Hold on. We're not finna go past that like that wasn't said. Hey, it's time to speak up now. What you mean? Like, how long you been feeling like you wanted to do that? How long you? That's the time to speak. You feel what I'm saying? That's where it means by, being wise as a serpent. Serpents are wise. I've never seen a stupid snake. If you ever watch National Geographic and all that stuff, you won't know the snake is there until he wants you to know. Think about rattlesnakes. What are they famous for? They famous for rattling when you get too close. But if they don't rattle, how you know it's there? That's how wise you gotta be. You gotta be there, but you're not there. Go ahead.
So like it too. You got a snake that has a it's not a actual spider, but it disguises itself as a spider. So like a rattlesnake, the Lord is amazing. There's a snake that has a so-called spider on its tail, and it
Mm-hmm.
hides under the dirt, and it acts like a spider to get other creatures and stuff. Yeah. Yep.
See that?
Yep.
Right? I mean, come on, what we talking about, man? You gotta be that wise. You know, they got animals in the animal kingdom that use each other. Hey, on the Lion King, they didn't get that from nowhere. You got the little animal riding the big animal. That happens in nature. You got certain birds who is certain animals out in Africa and stuff. Hey, the birds eat the insects off of the animal, and the animal protects the bird because a predator ain't gonna come mess with this elephant or mess with this rhino or whatever animal it is. It's a symbiotic relationship, right? But harmless as doves also, right? When you look at the words of Christ, when he cut people, he didn't have to talk about their mama, talk about their shoes, you know, call their daughter out of their name, you know. He was harmless as like what he said, it hurt you so bad because he didn't really like get on you how he could have. Like think about when the Pharisees was getting mad. He just giving them parables. He ain't called nobody mama out their name, talked about nobody's shoes, like I said, called nobody a bum. He just giving parables. If you understood this, you wouldn't have said that. And they getting cut, they getting pissed, they want to kill a man. All because he's harmless as a dove. How many times? Let's go. We ain't gonna get that right. We're gonna stay on subject. But y'all get the point, man. The power of the tongue. So let's switch gears a little bit. Let's go to Sirach chapter 6. All right. Y'all know I'm going to Sirach, eventually. You just gotta wait on it. It's gonna come eventually, whether it's the beginning of the video, the middle, it's the end. We're gonna get Sirach in there because there's some heat in here. It's Sirach chapter 6 and verse number 5. Is that where I want to start? Verse number 5. Sweet language will multiply friends, and a fair speaking tongue will increase kind greetings. So we keep talking about all the bad parts or the sort of negative side of things with your tongue. Hey, it's positives to it also, right? It says sweet language will multiply friends. By you being able to speak to people sweetly, and that don't mean be soft, like the brother said earlier. That's not what it's saying. Sweet language is, let's say I'm speaking to an elder. I'm not going to speak to an elder like I would speak to the brother Shema Wall, because they my elder. Oh, what's up, G? And I dap him up. And he my dad age. You feel what I'm saying? Gray hairs and, oh, what's up, OG? How's land? How's going? All right then, bro, I see you. Yeah. And that's how I'm speaking to my elder. Nah. But imagine if I'm a young man, I come to my elder. How you doing today, elder? Okay. It's good to see you, elder. You think that elder, hey, that's a nice young man. You think he's not going to speak to you again? And now, hey, you might have a certain situation. You might have opened that door to that relationship with that elder. Now he want to give you the game because you're not like them other young little boys. You set yourself apart just by having sweet language, just by knowing how to say stuff, who to say it to, just by having discernment all around. Let's get this in Sirach chapter 5 and verse number 13. It's Sirach chapter 5 and verse 13. Honor and shame is in talk, and a tongue of man is his fall. You can bring yourself to honor with what you say. or you can bring yourself to shame with what you say. You can honor somebody else with what you say, or you can shame somebody else with what you say. Right? Think about the honor of the Most High. We ain't never talked to him one-on-one. We reading the words about him. That's how powerful the words is. What's being said in this Bible is so honorable that we honor the Most High. We do this work for a God that we can't see. That's the power of the tongue. His word created everything that we see, we hear, everything we experience, including us. His word. That's the power of the tongue. So I want to get this last precept, and then I'm going to pass it back to the brother, man. Like I said, it's positive aspects also. And as a matter of fact, instead of getting another precept, I'm going to just finish off in verse 5. It's Sirach chapter 6 and verse 5. Sweet language will multiply friends, and a fair-speaking tongue will increase kind greetings. A fair-speaking tongue will increase kind greetings, man. It don't have to be, you don't have to give a 10-minute speech to impress nobody. You know what I'm saying? Be that one person that say good morning to everybody in the room. Oh, good morning, how you doing? How you doing? Okay, good morning. You shake everybody's hand. You go around, you dap up everybody. You know? It says a fair-speaking tongue will increase kind greetings. Ask people how they doing today, man. When you in line at the checkout and you got that old lady behind the register, ask her how work going today. You ain't got to sit there and talk to her for an hour. But let's say this is a frequent spot you come through. There's advantages to having a fair-speaking tongue, to having a sweet language, right? You can open doors for yourself that you didn't even know. I'm sure, I don't know if Shema ever been through this, but with us having the knowledge of the Most High and having this discernment and all of that, hey, it's certain people at your job, certain heathen, where just by you having a fair-speaking tongue, you being able to move right, hey, they'll do certain stuff for you. They'll help you out. Like it's saying in Proverbs, when a man ways please the Lord, even his enemies make peace with him. Roughly paraphrasing, very roughly, but y'all get the point. You know, we didn't have people come up to us at camp, the heathen, not getting saved, none of that. And because we were so respectful to them, it was nice talking to you guys. They wanted to shake our hand, and we just gave them their judgment according to the Bible. Some of them come back. They want to hear it again. Believe it or not. It sounds crazy, but hey, that's what a fair-speaking tongue does. It increases kind greetings. Sweet language multiply friends. At our camp spots, whether we in Chicago down there where them brothers at, or you in Milwaukee where we at, we known at our camp spot. They know us. They talk to us. Oh, we see y'all all the time and all this type of stuff. It's certain people we cool. Oh, what's up? We'll dap them up. This kind of like, it's almost a block. You know, in righteousness, of course, but y'all feel me? You start to get to know people because of how you speak and because you're not out there rash with your talk. But you got to.
Khan, that's right, man. Right, hey, that was a mighty precept that you brought out. What that was, Sirach 6 and 5.
Khan, sorry, 6 and 5, the sweet language one.
Yeah, that's sweet.
That's Sirach 6 and verse 5. That's Sirach, boy. Let me tell you.
Yeah, man, that's sweet. You know, I mean, could see the word, the words of the word. The words of the Lord is sweet, right? But you know, hey, you gotta watch your mouth, man. Sweetly words of a multiply of friends. Because we, especially, you will see somebody, because anybody, they probably used to a brother just talking crazy to him, say anything, don't care what they say. Hey, I speak my mind. The Lord never said you to speak your mind. You can't just utter everything out of your mind. Hey, that's how you get locked up.
I got a precept for that if you want it.
Con, bring it out.
It's Sirach chapter 21 and verse number 26.
See that?
It says, the heart of fools is in their mouth, but the mouth of the wise is in their heart.
See that? You just utter everything. The heart of fools is in their mouth. So they just, I mean, they saying anything, man. They're gonna say something inappropriate in front of everybody, embarrass you, embarrass themselves. Then they know that they embarrass themselves. Then they say something else to embarrass themselves even more. You know, this folly, man. You know, and we seen it. We have done it. The time in our life we did it, probably 2 to 3 times, maybe a lot. But I mean, hey, we was in the world, man. You know, Jake don't have a lot of control over his speech, you know, and what vocabulary words to use. You know, you got some Jakes out there that, you know, they got some a mouthpiece, as they like to say, but majority of Israel don't. Right. So we're gonna go to Sirach chapter 22. Let's go to verse. Let's see what I want. We'll get 13. Sirach 22, verse 13. It says, talk not much with a fool, and go not to him that have no understanding. Right. So you don't want to be talking to somebody that has no understanding, because the Lord commanded us to be with a godly man who's keeping the commandments. So you don't want to talk much with a fool. He don't want to keep you know, he ain't keeping no commandments. All he talking about is women. He telling you, man, forget about that, man. Go ahead and, you know, he smooth talking, nothing but a fool, right? It says, beware of him. The Lord is telling you, beware of him. The Lord is giving you warning of who to talk to, who not to talk to, what to say, what not to say, or to shut up, right? It says, beware of him, lest thou have trouble, and thou shalt never be defiled with his fooleries, right? Hey, let's get this precept. 1 Corinthians 15 and 33. Because evil communications corrupt good manners. This is why the Lord said, beware of him, lest thou have trouble, and thou shalt never be defiled with his fooleries. Because if you end up being defiled with him, that spirit will literally come upon you, and you start to move how he moves. You start uttering things out of your mind. You start saying things that you really not even supposed to say. You take part in things that you taking part in conversations that you don't even need to be in, right? So this 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 33, be not deceived, evil communications corrupt good manners. Hey, you got brothers chopping it up with their rib, and now you gossiping. Hey, you just let your rib say what she say. Oh, cool, this and that. Don't fully indulge in that, brother. Just let her speak what's going on, whatever that may be. Have discernment if she wants you to figure it out or she wants you to listen. You know, now you end up gossiping. Now you end up, yeah, you know, this brother, his name is, you saying his whole government name, and you going off, right? You going clean off, right? So this says, talking not much with a fool, and go not to him that have no understanding. Beware of him, lest thou have trouble, and thou shalt never be defiled with his fooleries, right? So I'm gonna read 1 Corinthians 15 again. Be not deceived, evil communications corrupt good manners. Because that him being defiled, his filth on who he is as a person, what comes upon you, which is that wicked spirit, right? It says, depart from him, and thou shalt find rest. Because when you talk with a fool, you're vexed. You're very vexed when you talk with a fool. When you speak with people that's very worldly, that has no type of discernment, because the Lord is dealing with our people, even them in the world. So certain Jakes have some type of discernment, has some type of, you know, carnal knowledge that able for them to move, you know, in this world, you know. So, you know, you shall find rest, because when you talk to Jake, you gonna get vexed, man. Everything that they say, you know. So you got to be careful of who you talking to, right? It says, and never be disquieted with his madness, right? Disquieted mean weary. You're gonna be weary. You're gonna be like, and a lot of brothers do that in the truth. You talking to Jake, man, come on. When Jake start moving side to side, man, you know, hey, leave him alone, because you vexing him, man. Right. So let's jump down to verse. Right. This Sirach chapter 22. We're gonna stay in this chapter. Right. It says verse 20. Right. Verse 20. It says, whoso casteth a stone at the birds frayeth them away, And he that upbraideth his friend breaketh friendship. And you got brothers, just because it showed 10-year brother, 15-year brother, whatever, doesn't mean that you can say whatever to him. You may have a brother, y'all talk crazy to each other. Y'all can talk some ish to each other. You know what I'm saying? Know when the right time to not speak those words to him, man. It's a serious situation. Brother's trying to handle a matter, and you just saying things that can offend a brother. Let's go to that definition of brother. Right? Yes, yeah, y'all talk issue sort of whatever that may be, but it's spears behind your words and the tone that you're doing. And now you acting like a fool, man. You know, this ain't the right time. Know how to love your brothers and sisters. You know, learn how to love your nation. Because the most High love us. He know the certain things to say to us. You know, because if he didn't, best believe Jacob would be Jacob die. Let's put it that way. Jacob die. Especially in you would drop dead. Let's leave it like that. Because if the Lord didn't refrain certain things, if he wasn't long suffering, very merciful, you know, and mercy, when you be merciful to somebody in your speech, it's not just because you know, it was a heated situation and cool. That's you're supposed to be like that. But when it comes to, you know, far as you playing too much, you got to learn how to cut it off, especially when a brother being serious. And to know that certain things trigger him. That don't mean you keep egging it on, man. Right? That's literally in Proverbs chapter 18, right? Roughly paraphrasing, the words you speak will call it for strokes. You'll start to get your A whooped. It's time to get beat because the certain things you saying, you playing too much. Or you don't know how to speak to nobody. Right? Let's get upbraider. Salaki. Not to be long-winded. Upbraider. Right? It says upbraid. Find fault with someone. Scold. Right? It says find fault with someone. So somebody, a brother that deal with a certain situation. You see he trying to, or whatever sin that may be, he's bettering himself. But you bring it up. He get into a certain situation. Hey, this is why you in there. Because you out here brother, first of all, why are you talking to him like that? Now he's not going to trust you to get counsel from you because you casting it upon him. Or you scolding him. You just saying anything out your mouth to him. Yes, y'all talk ish to each other, but it ain't the right season for you to even speak those type of things or say those type of words. Or come up with an imagination thinking you're a comedian, right? And when a brother feels some type of way through the spirit, because he stopped talking. Yes, he still love you. He not even upset, but he stopped talking because you tripping, man, sister, right? So you will break a friendship. A brother won't say certain things to you just because the way how you speak, right? So verse 21, it says, "Doth thou drawest a sword at thy friend?" You draw a sword at your friend by certain words you say. All right, let's get that. Let's get Proverbs, right? And then you got it all. Proverbs chapter 26, verse 18. It says that as a madman who casteth firebrands, arrows, and death, right? A man that's damn insane. A man that's all about war. All he want to do is fight. In the ancient world, yes, we had arrows, swords, spears, things of that manner, right? As a madman who causes firebrands and arrows and death, so is the man that deceiveth his neighbor and saith, am I in sport? So it's the same spirit I'm going into, because certain words you say is death. Certain words you say is arrows. Certain words you say is a sword, man. You got to watch what you say. Then you want to say, like, say for instance, we got to bring this out, Israel, right? Say for instance, you having a conversation with a brother. All of a sudden you say you're emotional. Like, what you mean? What emotion that he has when he telling you what is going on? You offended the brother. That doesn't mean he's emotional, right? That doesn't mean he's emotional. Now you just drew sword when he's trying to explain to you what his mind going through and the certain spirits, the words that trigger him. You need to learn how to deal with your brothers and your sisters and your kids. Certain kids, you know, you got to learn how to, you know, what spirits that they have. Everybody doesn't have the same spirit. Everybody doesn't have the same mind as you. But the order to be on one accord, you have to communicate in a proper manner, right? In a good spirit, right? So it says, though thou drawest a sword at thy friend, yet despair not, for there may be a returning to favor. So you may end up drawing a sword, but you can come to him, hey, I'm Salakia. You know, I should never said what I said. You know, my bad. I was playing too much. You know, things of that manner. And if you don't feel offended by certain words you say, you know, you may need to examine yourself, right? We all do. You know, one more precept, Salakia. Right, let's go to Matthew 12. Because on judgment day, when you come before the Lord, every single thing is taken account of. We got to remember that. Everything. The angels watching everything. They're not just watching your thoughts. They're watching what you say. They're watching how you move. So when you come before the Lord, he's going to break down everything. Why you say this? What made you say this? And he know why you said it. But he want to see what spirit you in, which he already know the spirit that you in. It's already been taken account of, man. Right? This is Matthew chapter 12, verse 36. It says, but I say unto you that every idle word that man shall speak, they shall give account thereof in a day of judgment. So this is ultimately going into the fear of the Lord. Because if you have fear of the Lord, you'll watch what you say, not just your thoughts, you know, because if you thinking it, obviously you want to say it. So you better get rid of that. You better get rid of that spirit, man. And this is out of the mouth of Yahweh Shai. This word, this red letters, man. The Lord saying to himself, his words was taken account of. What makes you think yours not? I so the Son of Man, so is us, man. You know, we drunk of that cup. You know, if you want the kingdom, you got to watch what you say. Yeah, you may done a lot of things right, but your mouth is what got you in trouble. Your mouth can have you not get the kingdom. That's crazy, man. Just your mouth. You know, but you gotta
I want to get an example of your mouth keeping you from the kingdom. Let's go to Numbers chapter 20. Right. Let's see what happened to Moses. Because the Lord gave him specific instructions on what to do. Specifically on what he was supposed to say, how he was supposed to say it. And let's see how that went. All right, it's Numbers chapter 20. I ain't going to read the whole chapter, but I want to get straight to the point. Numbers chapter 20 and verse 7. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, take the rod and gather thou the assembly together, thou and Aaron thy brother, and speak unto the rock before their eyes, and it shall give forth his water, and thou shalt bring forth to them water out of the rock. So shalt thou give the congregation and their beasts drink. So he told them, get everybody attention, gather everybody together, and I want you to talk to this rock and say what I need you to say, and this water is water gonna come out of this rock. That's what the Lord told him. Now let's see what happened. This is verse 9. And Moses took the rod from before the Lord as he commanded him. And Moses and Aaron gathered the congregation together before the rock. And he said unto them, hear now, ye rebels, must we fetch you water out of this rock? And Moses lifted up his hand, and with his rod he smote the rock twice. Now, when did the Lord tell him to hit the rock with anything? You know? And you can tell what type of spirit he was in, because he said, hear now, you rebels. You know, he was pissed off. He was, yeah, y'all talk. You gotta, but it's Jake. You gotta really put this in perspective. He was like, yeah, y'all was talking all that and all this. Watch this stuff. In that type of spirit. And what did he do? He didn't do what the Lord told him to do. And let's see what happened. Only because this one time he let his mouth slip. Yeah, he was tripping. Like, exactly. Hey, we got to bring out these accounts, because a lot of times we can't see ourselves in the prophets and the people of old because we hold them to this high regard, like they the most high or something. They a man just like me and you. You got when you got to read about David committing adultery to really understand. Dang, David was just like me. He wanted to be righteous. He loved the Most High, but he ended up tripping too. Samson and Jonah and Judas and Peter. I mean, it's really hard to find examples of brothers who didn't have at least one time where they was tripping. You know. So let's finish this off and let's see what happened to Moses, because this wasn't even a point, but this is where the Spirit brought me, right? Verse 12, this Numbers 20 and 12. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, because ye believed me not to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore ye shall not bring this congregation into the land which I have given them. He told them straight up, you ain't bringing them into the promised land just because you did what you just did, right? And I brought that out because the brother was just talking about how your mouth can keep you from the kingdom, because your mouth and your behavior go hand in hand, you know. Like we brought out in Matthew 12 earlier, you know, a good man out of the good treasures of his heart bring forth good. Good man don't bring forth evil. You're not gonna hear a good man. You never heard Yahushua saying, hey, y'all can eat pork on Sunday, just make sure it's after 8 p.m. Make sure the sun down, though. Because that would be evil for him to say that. Right? So let's get into this, right? Let's switch gears. Let's go into Colossians chapter 4 and verse 6. And this will be my last set of precepts, and then you got it out. All right, it's Colossians chapter 4 and verse number 6, the classic. Let your speech be always with grace, seasoned with salt, that ye may know how you ought to answer every man. And that's how you know this Jake that wrote the Bible, man. He says seasoned with salt. And he talking about talking, right? Now, Jake, how we talk nowadays? Oh, I'm saucing. You know, I'm Nick. We use that same type of language. That's how you know that's us, but that's besides the point. The point is, it said, let your speech be always with grace. Man, watch what you say. You feel what I'm saying? It's a lot of, it's especially in the English language. We've been speaking it for a long time. It's a lot of ways to say the same thing, right? A lot of ways. Especially us. We creative people, man. Listen, our mind, the Israelites, our mind is creative. Look at our rap music and our other music and we creative. Our comedians, we creative. Battle rap, creative. When your woman asks, hey, you know, baby, do I look fat in this dress? You know, the age-old question, right? It's 10 different ways you can tell her yes, you do. It's 10 different ways you can tell her no, you don't. It's 10 different ways you cannot answer that question and dance around it. But it's up to you and what you choose. How are you going to season your words with salt? Are you going to say, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you busting out of that dress, baby. It look real bad. That's what you going to tell your wife. You know, are you going to season your words with salt? Nah, baby, I like how this other dress fit better. X, Y, and Z. It's ways you can say these things. And I'm using an example that's kind of funny, but it's serious because what you say can get you jammed up or it can get you out of a situation. You know, you around the police. Let's say me and this brother Shemaw are around the police. They questioning us about something we don't have nothing to do with. I end up confessing to something that me and him actually did that don't have nothing to do with what they asking, all because I'm talking too much. You know, how many times did that happen? You get to confessing the crimes that they wasn't asking you about, all because you nervous about the one that they are asking about. All because you didn't season your words with salt. You wasn't having that discernment. Right. So let's go to Proverbs chapter 12 and verse number 25. This is my last precept. You got it. It's Proverbs chapter 12 and verse 25. Heaviness in the heart of man maketh it stoop, but a good word maketh it glad. So your words can literally lift somebody's spirit. All right. Your words can stop somebody from ending their own life. Your words can stop a woman from committing adultery against her husband. Your words can stop some. We didn't have people take cigarettes out their mouth and throw them across the street off of the words that we said to them, off of the words that we read to them. We didn't have people not me personally, but we got videos on various channels where you might have a dude, they in this interracial thing, they loving their enemy, they come up to us, talk to us, they abandon them. Like, nah. You might see Jake, he like, nah, he lead a little Caucasian lady off to the side. No, I'm good. I think WFI Minneapolis just had a video like that not too long ago. I think I seen it. Right? So it said heaviness make the heart stoop. You might see it on the brother's face, man. He just going through it. It been 3 months. You just been seeing this brother. Every time you see him, he don't crack jokes how he used to. Brother don't smile like he used to. You know what I'm saying? Brother used to come with a fresh beard. He used to pick it out, shiny, oil. Brother beard, patchy. Brother used to be fresh, stayed with a fresh cut. Brother got the werewolf joint going up top. You just know that's not him, man. You know? And guess what? You come on, brother. I know you remember last summer, man. You was this, and that. You might have a brother, he don't believe he can teach no more. That happens sometime in the truth. You lose your confidence. Maybe it is especially, don't let you just had a situation where you messed up. You might have broke something down wrong, or you might have gotten your feelings and you messed it up. You blew it as a teacher. And the next time you teach, that still be on your mind. You dang, I shouldn't have said it like that. Brothers know what I mean, who have been through it, man. So it's like a lot of times it takes another brother to give you that word that, like it say, make your heart glad. It have been times this brother to my wall and said certain things to me, whether he knew it or not, man, got that heaviness right up off me. You know, sometimes you might be low, you might be thinking, man, I don't know if I can keep going. I'm behind on bills, you know, out in X, Y, and Z. I'm almost finna get fired from my job. And it might be a brother to tell you, hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, get up. He might talk some sense into you, like, you right. You right. I can still bring in Almighty. It don't matter if I messed it up that one teaching session. You know? Yeah, I fell to that same demon. This the 5th time. Hey, we finna fight for that. We going for round number 6, though. And a brother might have to talk to you. Hey, yeah, you lost the first 5 times. So, what you gonna do when they come around for the 6th time? You better be 1 in 5. Y'all fought 6 times, but that last time you gave them the business, though. But you might need a brother to talk that into you, though. So I'm gonna read this precept one more time, and then you got it. This it. It's Proverbs chapter 12 and verse 25. It says, heaviness in the heart of man maketh it stoop, but a good word maketh it glad. So understand that a good word can make a heavy heart, somebody depressed, they going through a breakup, somebody just died, they just lost their job, they behind on bills, they health, whatever. Just by your words, you can make their heart glad. You can change somebody's entire life just by what you say to them. And never forget that. But you got it.
Khan, that's mighty, man. You could change somebody's life by what you say. Hey, Eve, you could change a man's life by what you say. You could change a man's mood. You know, you go ahead out.
So, like, yeah, I meant to bring this out earlier. I wish I was on a laptop. But for the people at home, y'all can Google this. Y'all can Google, can you think yourself into depression? And it's going to tell you. Google will tell you. You can literally sit and think yourself into a depression. That's how powerful your mind is. You know, if you say something out loud enough, you can convince yourself of it. If you say, I'm depressed, I'm ugly, I'm fat, enough, your body will respond to that physically. But you got it. I just had to throw that out there.
Khan, see that? Hey, the mind is wicked. The mind is deceitful. Man. It's wicked, man. That's what the Lord said, keep thy heart with all thy diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Proverbs 4 and 23. Right? So, hey, the point I was bringing out, though, you know, the brother was saying, you know, feeding off him through the Spirit. I mean, you could say a lot of beautiful things. Sisters, you could say a certain word can help a man just get out of that mood. Like the brother was saying, he probably talked, you know, he broke something down wrong or whatever. He come home from camp, he feeling some type of way, but you can tell he happy to see you, but he feeling some type of way. You know, he don't want to feel the Most High. He feel like he sinned, and he going through it. And by a certain word you say, he can get lifted up. His confidence come back. You know, now he going over what he said, and now he's getting a proper understanding, and he's happy about that. Just by a certain word you said. Let's get that one priest. I don't want to be too long. Let's get that. Let's get Sirach chapter 26 for the sisters. Because your sisters, hey, y'all, you sisters powerful too, man. A princess that has power with God, man. All right. This is Sirach chapter 25, verse 20. It says, as the climbing up a sandy way is to the feet of the age, so is a wife full of words to a quiet man. So you just scolding him, you know. You find out he broke down something wrong, and you know what? I don't think you need to relax on teaching me. So like it. But you don't want to say that. This man has not, through the spirit, steered you wrong through the precepts according to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. You know, he haven't stood you on anything. You found that he said something, off to the precept, whatever, how it's in byways, you find out, or you seen the video and you just, you could tell by a brother's spirits, like, hey man, you know what I'm saying? So, you seen his countenance, he come home and you need to relax on teaching me, because I ain't nah, that's off. Or he dealing with things out, in the world. You come home and you just saying whatever, you just scolding them, right? Hey, but to a woman that speak, in due season and has sweetly words, that man will move in the way of the Lord in righteousness, So sisters got to take heed to that too, right? So this Acts chapter 12, verse 21, right? We're gonna go to account, nice little account, right, of Herod. Because not just Israel gets slain, but the heathens do too, man. Especially the heathens, because they speak proudly. If a heathen is not giving glory to the Most High, he's getting slain more quickly than an Israelite. Right? And all praise to the Most High for that. Right? So the heathens, they got to glorify the Most High too, man. Right? You better. If not, you're going to be forced to. See that? So this Acts chapter 12, verse 20, it says, Herod was highly displeased with them of Tyre and Zidon, right? But they came with one accord to him, and having made Blastus the king's chamberlain their friend, and desired peace, because their country was nourished by the king's country. Right? Verse 21, it says, upon a set day, Herod, arrayed in the royal apparel, sat upon his throne and made an oration unto them, right? Which he was speaking, about the comeliness of himself or the kingdom, so on and so forth, right? It says, and the people gave shout, saying, it is the voice of a God and not of a man. It's madness, man. And all through that, he didn't glorify the Most High. Because who set up kings? Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. The only way Esau is ruling is because of the Lord putting curses on Israelites, because we didn't want to keep the commandments. So now Esau is ruling, and he's not glorifying the Most High. He think he's the Most High. And let's see what happened to Herod. Verse 23. And immediately the angel of the Lord smote him, because he gave not God the glory, and he was eaten of worms and gave up the ghost. So the Lord smote this man. And this what happened to Israel, to us, if we don't give glory. The tongue is powerful, right? You got to be careful what you say. So what you want to say all the time is, hey, Koholo Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All praise to the Most High. Lord willing. Saying these type of things, giving glory and gratification to, the Most High, and his son. That's what you should say. Everything that you do, literally, when you teach, when you pray, when you read, When you eat, when you drink, when you wake up, everything. If you're not saying that, the Lord can take your spirit. The Lord will smote you, right? Literally. So we got to watch what we say, man. The tongue is powerful, right? Who gave the tongue that much power? I mean, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. So the order for you to even tame it, it can't be tamed, but the only way you to tame it is through the spirit of the Lord, right? One more precept. We go to Psalms 141. All right, I got a lot of precepts in mind, but you don't call it, you know what I'm saying?
Or whether we could do a part 2 or something. There's a lot of ways we could take this.
Right. This Psalms 141 verse 3. This King David, right? Let's see what he say. He says, "Set a watch, O Lord, before my mouth. Keep the door of my lips." So you want to pray towards the Lord to keep the door of your mouth, to watch over your lips, watch over your speech, man. Watch what you say. Because if not, you're going to say anything. Now you out of the spirit. Now you moving in the way of Jake. Now you moving in the way of Esau. Now you doing whatever you want to do because of your speech. Because your speech is literally can dictate your life, what you say. I'm old. Brothers like to say that. I'm old. I'm old, man. Brother, you 28, 30. You Shalaka, you 24. Talking about you old. Cut it out, man. You young. You got hella energy. You still be able to walk. You still be able to run. Right? Stop saying you old just because you think differently. Cut it out. Jake's that's 48. You're young. Yes, you experience a lot of things, but you're still able to walk. You're still able to do things. Don't let your mind, your mouth, you know, what you say dictate or who you are. Because the man can do all things through Hamashiach, right? You could do all things through Christ. That's who strengthens you, man. So you saying, I can't, I'm old. No, you limiting yourself. Watch what you say, man. Keep saying you old. You 24, 23, you saying you old. When you turn 30, you're going to feel 40. When you turn 40, you're going to feel 60. You add more years in your life that you don't need to do. You got brothers, they be saying, damn, man, they be saying a lot of stuff. Hey, the Lord said you can't swear. Don't use the name of the Lord in vain. That's one of the 10 commandments. Right? That's the 10 commandments, man. Don't be saying on God. All right. But that's all I got, man. We're gonna keep it. Lil part want me to shut up, man. Keep coughing. Right. So all praise to the Most High, man. Right. All praise to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Lord willing brothers was edified. Watch what you say to your rib, to yourself, to your kids, to the flock, man. Right. But you got it.
Hey, like the brother said, man, just watch what you say, bro. You know, I came up with a personal saying. And it's that you never have to take something back that you didn't say. And I love that because it's simple, but it's effective. Because all type of stuff can pop in your mind, but if you didn't say it out loud, you don't have to take it back. You might have your wife might have said something sideways, or your kids, your boss at work, and you might have thought all types of things to say to them. You know, like for example, think about a time that you said something that you think about it now, you be like, dang, I shouldn't have said that. Dang, I wish I would have shut up. So now for future reference, when a situation like that presents itself again, you got to remember, this is a good opportunity for me to just not say nothing. It's a good opportunity for me to say it this way instead of that way that I said it back then. Right? So, hey, with that, we want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Right? Mighty and powerful as always, prophets of the old and mighty. The water for that. Hey, the water for tuning in. Right? We here for the people, man. We servants. That's all. We ain't nothing special. We here to serve the people and help the people out. With that, want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Right? Kwame Asharla and Shalom.
Shalom.